Welcome back to Sledgehammer Horror, guys. I am Ken Sledge, and let's talk horror. Today, I'm joined by the creator of the YouTube channel Side Hustle Cinema, Mr. Todd Cody. How you doing today, brother?
I'm doing good, man. How are you?
I am so well. Thank you so much for being a part of this. For those of you that don't know Todd, he started his YouTube channel in mid-July, just a couple months ago. He covers anything movie related, but he really does have a strong focus on physical media and the horror genre, but really also into autographs and movie collectibles. Something else that Todd and I have in common, we both grew up in a video store. Our parents both owned video stores growing up, so it really helped our love of physical media to be around physical media every single day. So before we get into Side Hustle, man, what was it like for you growing up in a video store?
Oh man, it was it was just great. I mean, I don't know that talk about like communities. The people that would just come and hang out, the regulars that you would get, you know, you spend so much time in there.
Yeah.
It was really great.
Yeah, my family owned a downtown video is what we called it. And it was a video store, but it also had a gold and silver exchange. And my cousin, Tim, right next door, he owned Tim's Cards and Comics. So, growing up, my whole life was baseball cards, comic books, and movies, man. So I'm pretty lucky to have the upbringing that I had with the family that I had. And I'm very envious that you got to grow up with that too, because I know how awesome it is to grow up. People, it's hard to explain, but that smell of the video store,
Yeah.
it's just such an incredible thing. And I miss it. I'm sad that a lot of the younger generation will never get to experience even the heartbreak of a video store, of walking in and going right to that movie you want to see and seeing that it's not there, go. But then you get the ultimate euphoria when you walk up to the front. Did somebody return this in the drop box? And you pull it
Yeah.
out and it's here, like so many cool things that happen in the video store world that kids won't get to experience. And, but one thing I do want to bring up with Side Hustle Cinema, I have the link for it right down here in the description, guys. So make sure you're going and giving that a sub. Check out the hard work that he's doing. He does a lot of work. This guy is very active, very proud of the work that he does, putting out sometimes 5 videos a week, man. That's incredible. Your work ethic is incredible. Thank you so much for the hard work that you're doing over there. But I also have the social media links right here in the description as well. So make sure you're following him on social media so you can keep up to date on all the new videos that he's putting out. Right now, he's doing a covering of the Chucky series. By the time this video is released, obviously that will be done. But make sure you go back and watch. You can get all his opinions on how the Chucky franchise has shaped during the TV series. So now that it's over, we could talk about it a little bit. What are your final thoughts on the Child's Play TV? I'm sorry, the Chucky TV series.
Yeah, it's been great. That a lot of people were worried that being on TV would somehow lessen the quality. I think the quality of the TV series has been better than the last couple of movies.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and as far as like the gore or any of that stuff, I mean, it was all there. I mean, and they really did a great job tying back into all the movies. It
Mm-hmm.
kind of made those lesser movies seem more important, like Seed of Chucky. That's no one's favorite, but they've kind of tied back in some. They've made a lot of references to it, and so I wouldn't be surprised if in season 2, I think we're going to get some more references from it. I wouldn't be surprised if we got Glenn and Glenda being back on there. Yeah, so it's just been fantastic.
I will tell you this. Somewhere in the world right now, my girl Celise, sweet and spooky, her head just exploded because her favorite is Seed of Chucky. So, Celise, if you're watching this, we still love you, even though everybody can be wrong every now and then, Celise, but we still love you. And I agree with you.
Everyone's got
I
a
love
favorite.
well, Chucky Child's Play has always been my favorite horror franchise. I just feel like it's the most consistent for the amount of films that it has. It doesn't have, to me, Seed of Chucky isn't even bad. It's my least favorite in the franchise. Yeah. But that's speaking more to how great the franchise is as to how bad Seed is. I think the kills in Seed of Chucky are fantastic. I think there's just a lot of misguided things in the movie. But I am a fan of Seed of Chucky. I don't hate it like a lot of other people do. But yeah, we talked about what you got going on right now, Todd, and what you got going on in the future. But my friend, I want to take this back to the past. And I want to talk about what got you started in the horror genre, your first horror movie, and your first horror movie was
Salem's Lot.
What a
Then,
great start, man. And the thing about Salem's Lot that is so often forgotten, this was a TV miniseries. This wasn't a cinematic film. So
right.
do you remember how old you were the first time you had seen it?
It was around 9 or 10. I think I think it was a school day. I don't remember my brothers and sisters being around, and I
Okay.
remember being home alone. So I must have stayed home from school, or I
Held your
went
head
home
against the light
alone.
bright until you got the fever.
Yeah, probably. And so, and I just remember coming across it, on like I don't even remember what channel it was. We had like a big satellite dish, and it's kind of a slow burn. It's actually not a super scary movie, but it's got some of the scariest looking vampires that I think, it's hard to top. I mean,
Yeah.
I know the Master was kind of modeled after Nosferatu, but I mean, he's so scary looking. And when that kid comes to the window, I mean, and it happens like 3 times in the film, but the first time it happened, yeah, and he's just sitting there clawed on the window and the eyes are
Yeah.
glowing. Oh, I mean, that stays with you for a long time. When you're a little kid,
Mhm.
that stays with
You're
you for
watching
a
a
really
peer
long
at this
time.
point.
What's that?
I said, at this point, you're watching a peer, somebody our
Oh
age
yeah,
as
yeah,
a little boy doing this stuff. Like that always made it scarier for me as well. Um, which kind of brings me into which scene affected you the most. We're kind of there right now talking about the scene of him scratching at the window. And like I was just saying, what I wanted to bring up and emphasize about this, you watch this movie today, and like you said, it's not, probably one of the better vampire movies out there, but it's very effective, especially for being a made for TV movie. And that's one of the scenes that really, really got me as well. Another one is when, even though it's predictable, when he's down there and he's getting in the coffin and then he sits up right in
yeah,
front of him when he's in the coffin. That's another one as a kid that, I had to cover my eyes every time that part was about to happen. Even though I knew it was coming, it still
yeah.
got me every single time. So we know now which scene affected you the most, my friend. But what would you say your favorite scene from the movie would be?
Um, probably when they finally go into the house,
Mm-hmm.
because you've been waiting for that build up, because like I said, it is kind of a slow burn. And so when it finally comes time for the confrontation, you've had the scene in the kitchen, where he has the boy and he lets him go.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's finally, the time when the showdown happens.
Sure.
And so yeah, I mean, I just that you're just like on the edge of your seat.
Yeah.
And then, when it gets into the final scenes, where he's going to drive the stake into the Master, and the kid has been like, he's like shoved down to the floor, and he's like next to where all the vampires are staying, like where
Mm-hmm.
they're sleeping, and it's cutting back and forth. And in one scene, he's the Ben Mears is fighting with the Master, and then it switches back to the boy, and you start to see the vampires waking up behind him.
Yeah.
And it's still, I just recently rewatched it, just to make sure everything was fresh in my mind, and it still gets me to this day. Like, even though it's going to be okay now,
Mm-hmm.
you're just like, if I don't usually scream at the TV, but you're screaming at the TV,
Yeah.
because every time they cut back to them, the vampires are a little closer. They're a little closer, and if you don't turn around, they're going to get you.
Yeah.
So
And
you
it's
got
funny
to
how
turn
when we watch
around.
these movies, yeah. Well, it's funny when we watch these movies how we get transported back to being a child. The first time we watch them comes back so fresh in our mind. And there's so many movies from the 70s, 80s that I watch now, and I just feel like I'm that little kid again. I remember what I was eating when I watched it at a certain point, or I remember being scared and going and sit next to my mom, I'll protect you, mom. Don't worry about it. Even though
Yeah,
I'm terrified and I need my mom to protect me at this point. But um, Now, usually the question I ask is, would you like to see your first horror movie, in this case, Salem's Lot, remade today? Well, that's already happening. The movie is in the midst of a remake right now. Are you excited for the remake, or is this one that you feel like should have just been left alone?
Well, I liked Salem's Lot. I really liked the remake from 2004, with Rob Lowe. I thought that was excellent.
Mhm.
And so, yeah, I'd like to see what they can do with it.
Mhm.
From what I'm, hearing, it sounds pretty good.
Right. And
Um,
I'm not anti-remake either, like you. If a remake can be done well, it can be done well. If
right.
you can tell this story again in a different, the only thing I'm not really into is a remake that is the exact same thing as the original. I've already
Right.
watched this. I don't need to watch it again, modernized. Change it up a little bit for me. So I think they could do a great job with Salem's Lot. I think that vampires has always been something super intriguing to people. It's almost romantic when you think about vampires. When I think of vampires, I think of romance. I think that, Dracula, one of the ultimate, romantic men in the world, I guess.
Yeah.
Um, so, Todd, we talked about your first horror movie being Salem's Lot and how much that movie affected you. But now, my friend, I want to go scream on you here for a second. My little buddy Ghostface has a question for you. What's your favorite scary movie, Todd? What is your favorite horror movie of all time?
Okay. This one always gets a few looks, but it's Halloween 4.
Mhm.
I mean,
Yeah,
a lot of people say Halloween, but I think Halloween 4 is Halloween, but a little bit better.
I can see that. You know, except for old poor Ted Hollister. Like I can.
Well, yeah, and and that was the mob done right.
Yeah, at least I didn't have to hear "Evil Dies Tonight" 67 times throughout that movie. And I
Yeah,
love what I love about that scene is just how like blah they are to it. Like, oh damn it, you killed Ted Hollister. Like it's just like son of a bitch, we did it again. Like
yeah,
that's what I love about that scene. And I am a big fan of Halloween 4. I think Halloween 4 is a great film. Danielle Harris is amazing.
yeah.
And I think it's one of the better Halloween films. I'm not a big fan of the Thorn trilogy altogether. I think Halloween 5 is good. I think Halloween 6 is probably my least favorite in the franchise, including Resurrection. At least Resurrection entertains me. Halloween 6 is probably my least favorite in the whole franchise, and I always get shit for that. But
Yeah.
Halloween 4 is definitely a fun movie, man. It's a movie that you can have fun with, and it doesn't slog like a lot of the Halloween 78 does. Um, I'm one of the people that Halloween 78 is what it is to me. I think it's a great movie. I think that we wouldn't have a lot of the slashers we have today without it. But I don't think it's anywhere near the best movie ever made. Don't kill me, please. Like I do love
Right.
Mikey Myers. I think he's great. But Halloween 78, it started a lot, but I think it's been done better. But we wouldn't have what we have now if it wasn't for Halloween 78. So you got to give love to the OG. You got to give love to the Billy Shatner mask. So I completely understand that too. Now, man, hearing how horror started for somebody is something that means a lot to me. And when we talk about how horror started for us, sometimes it makes us dive headfirst into horror, or sometimes it makes us run screaming, and we don't come back to horror until a lot later in life. But I want to go back to Salem's Lot here for a second. What we're going to do, my friend, is we're going to judge this on a skull count. Now, 0 skulls being the worst and 5 being the best. The deal with this is we're not judging this on acting, production, quality, nothing like that. We're not being critics. What we're going to do is we're going to strictly judge this movie on how much it affected you on first viewing, Todd. So 0 skulls being the worst and 5 being the best. What would your ranking of Salem's Lot be?
Uh, Probably a good solid 4.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'd say 4.
So, would you say that after this, it made you want to watch horror more, or was this kind of like, oh, I don't know how I feel about this type of thing?
Um, you know, as far as I could remember, I've always kind of been into horror. I was the youngest of 4 kids, and so by the time I was like coming around, my parents they couldn't keep me from watching stuff anymore. I had older brothers and sisters,
Right.
and so it just I don't know. And my mom, she was a big horror fan too. Like, um, I remember watching Cujo like when I was really young as well, and I actually saw Gremlins with the family in theaters, but I don't really consider that a horror movie. But it's,
Right.
yeah,
See, to me, horror is so subjective. Like me personally, I love Gremlins. I personally consider it a horror movie. Like, but I also consider Jurassic Park and Ghostbusters to be horror movies. Like those movies
okay,
scared the dog shit out of me as a kid. So I think horror is so subjective, and I just hate the people that are so Nazi-ish about it. Like, if you don't like this, you're not a horror fan. If you haven't seen this, you're not a horror fan. Like, shut the fuck up, man. Like,
yeah,
don't be that guy. Like invite people in. Horror is the most inclusive. Like, we love everybody, and like stop pushing people away because you have this, Peter Pan complex about yourself. Like, just love people, treat them right, bring them here. I hate it that there's people that only watch horror in October. Be nice to those people. Let them know horror is just as awesome in December as it is in October. Stay with us. Come watch horror with us.
right.
So I do want to remind everybody, I have all of the social media links as well as the YouTube link down here in the description, guys. So make sure that you're checking it out. Man, I've had such a blast with you. Don't go anywhere. I got a couple questions for you. Everybody else, thank you for watching. And as always, keep talking horror, stay what you are, and we'll see you guys soon.